Good morning, everybody. It's a beautiful Sunday morning. There's the van. Today we're going to be working on the framing, and I wanted to just quickly go over how I think this video is going to go because we actually already have a bunch of the framing done. So today what I'm thinking is, in the beginning of this video, we're going to be making the upper cabinets on the kitchen side of the van. So I figured I'd show you exactly how I've been doing the framing, what material we've been using, how I've been cutting it, all that stuff. And then after that, I would like to just kind of give you a better rundown of how the layout is going to be, what exactly is going to be where with the framing that we already have done. Because I showed a little bit of that in the last video, but it wasn't very specific, and I think it would just help anyone watching visualize exactly what we're planning on doing. So that's what this video is going to be. Hopefully you enjoy. And the chickens have come out to join us. How nice. So we are using something called extruded aluminum. Yeah, so this is extruded aluminum. Most people know it by what's called 80/20, which is essentially just the most popular brand of this stuff. We sourced ours from a place in New York actually, and we're in Utah, because it was a lot cheaper from them. 80/20 is definitely more expensive, and even with the shipping from all the way from New York, this was much cheaper. So I have a few example pieces here. This one here is your typical, it's got 4 slots to attach different mounting points and attach different pieces to it. You can also get something that just has 3 slots that's smooth on one side. You can also get them that has like just 1 slot and smooth on 3 sides, or 2 slots and then smooth on the corner. Or you can also get this rounded over stuff. It's smooth on the rounded side. So with all these different configurations of this aluminum, you can get pretty creative with how you construct your framing. It also has a nice finished look, and you can get it in like silver, you can get like yellow if you want that. Yeah, so that's what we're working with, and so far we really like it. So something that made designing all the individual modules for the framing much easier was this program called T-Build. We did not buy our aluminum from this place just because it was a lot more expensive from here, but this program made determining, what kind of aluminum, like what kind of extrusions to get, and also just what kind of fasteners we needed and how much aluminum we needed. For example, this is the upper cabinet section that we'll be building today, and it'll be more or less just like this, which is going to be putting it all together so much easier, because essentially now all we have to do is cut out the pieces that we want to the correct size and then just assemble it. So if you're going to be using extruded aluminum in your build, I would definitely recommend using some kind of a program like this. It just makes the whole process a lot easier and a lot more fluid. Okay, and just to reiterate what we'll be working on, essentially we'll be having a row of cabinets from here all the way to the back. The idea being that on this side, this will be kind of more kitchen stuff, and on this side, over the bed, we're gonna have a couple bigger cabinets for some clothes. So just gonna quickly go over some final measurements just to confirm them, and we'll get to cutting and assembling. Woo! Alright, so that has all been cut and is now ready to assemble. This really is, I think, the easiest part about framing with the aluminum. The hardest part, in my opinion, for sure, so far with the framing has just been the whole getting ready process before ordering it, and just figuring out exactly how much of each kind, what kind of aluminum piece are you going to need in this place, what kind of anchor are you going to use there so that the panels aren't going to show the anchor, and all that kind of stuff is definitely harder than this. This is fun compared to that, because all we got to do is measure, cut, and put together. It's honestly pretty fun. And I also wanted to point out just the fact that I know there are a bunch, from the looking I've done, I know there are a bunch of different resources and channels and videos that explain how to do framing with extruded aluminum. There's a reason it's popular. But I just wanted to say, you can totally get creative. Like everything that we've done in here, it's not like we copied like a set of designs, you know. It's like we picked how deep we wanted the countertop to be, how tall we wanted them to be, just like everything, you know. It's not like there's this certification you need to be able to build with this stuff. It's pretty forgiving, it's really strong. So if you're not a good architect, it's not the end of the world. And yeah, although there are tons of resources for how to use this stuff, which I think you should definitely use, I also just don't think you should be afraid to try something that you thought was a good idea, even if no one else has done it before. So real quick before we start putting the framing together, I just wanted to go through the different anchors that we are using in this build. There are tons more than just this, but these are the ones that we went with, and so I'm just going to show those real quick. These are nice because you only need 2 different Allen wrenches, except for this one. That's the only one though. And we only use those in a handful of places. So for the most part, in the entire build, you just need these 2 wrenches and you're good to go. I also have a couple of small pieces of scrap to demonstrate how they go together. If this is not interesting to you, just skip this part of the video. The first anchor that we use, and this is the one we used the most of, and it's also the cheapest, it's just this 90-degree bracket. And for each one of these brackets, you need 2 of these little bolts and 2 of these, I guess you'd call them nuts. But how this works is you just insert the bolt through one of the holes, and I like to kind of spin these on slightly before inserting it into the aluminum, just like slightly like that. Then you take your aluminum and you can slide it into the slot. And if you line it up on the end and tighten it down, insert the other bolts. Let me put that on there. So once those are in place, this is what you're left with. And this works great. It's what we use, like I said, we use this most in the van. The only downside is that you're left with this profile of the bracket. And if you are using any kind of paneling on that's inset or that's in these slots, you need to cut around that, and it's left showing, which is not ideal. But this is great for behind the scenes and like everywhere where you don't see the anchors, which is most of the framing in the van. There are relatively very few places where you want the anchor to be hidden, just because most of the anchors are behind all the panels and everything like that. So in the places where you do want the anchor to be hidden, that's where this comes in. And this is more expensive, but all it is these 2 set screws that are on this little bracket, and they use a slightly smaller Allen key. They go in essentially the same way. You just slide them in like that, and once they're in there, you can tighten the set screws. So once those are in place, this is what you're left with. And as you can see, there's no profile of that anchor. If you were to insert something in this slot, you would need to cut around this, but you'd be able to do it in a way that's still flush with the edge of the framing and wouldn't be shown if you do a good enough job with your panel. Alright, the third one I wanted to just show you guys is one that's used for any places that you want to make any 45-degree angles at. And I'm just going to show you a place where I've already used these. Right there. So this is a place where we're going to have a table mount on a panel that's going to come right here. And we needed this to be cut off so that there would be space for this chair to swivel around. And so we made these 45-degree cuts, and conveniently they had these brackets that fit perfectly for these 45-degree angles. And that turns out very nice. Nice clean cuts, nice clean joints. So I'm pretty happy with these. Okay, and the final anchor that we are going to be using in this build is a little bit of a unique piece. It's this one here. Looks kind of funny. It is used specifically for these rounded over pieces of aluminum. And if you can imagine, you are trying to join 2 of these together, like with one of those other anchors that would go on the inside here. that wouldn't be ideal because you'd be left with this sharp corner sticking out. So this piece takes the place of those other anchors and sits like that. And it comes with these bolts that go in either way. So that leaves it with this nice rounded over edge that's not going to be a safety hazard if you stand up and hit your head on it or something like that. If I will note though, if you're using this, these bolts that go through here, they go into this hole on the ends of the aluminum. All of the different kinds of aluminum pieces have that hole. The problem is it's not threaded. So I believe you can order it pre-threaded if you know exactly the lengths of aluminum you're going to be using. I did not though, and I ordered it all in just big lengths so I could cut it as I needed. And so to thread this, we're going to need to use a self-tapping bit to be able to secure these in place. So I just thought I'd mention that for anyone who is contemplating whether or not they want to use these. Hopefully this is helpful for someone out there, but I just thought I'd give a quick overview of exactly what anchors we are using in our build. Now let's finally put this framing together for real. Okay, peoples, we're done assembling those things. So that went pretty smooth. So I made this section of cabinets in two sections for two reasons. One is that this, when it's all said and done, this strip of cabinets is going to be 100 inches long from here to the back of the van. And having it in two sections makes it a little less cumbersome and just easier to move in and out and handle. Another reason is that these strips of aluminum don't even come in 100-inch strips. So even if I wanted to do it in one section, I couldn't. Another thing you'll notice is that these do not have the top piece of framing that's going to go along them. And that's because we don't quite know how tall these vertical pieces are going to be. And you can also see that we don't have these pieces here, these that are going to be at a right angle, that are going to hold the hinges for the doors. And we just don't know exactly the dimensions we need for those hinges. One more thing I want to explain is that these vertical pieces stick out an inch. Each of these pieces is 1 inch by 1 inch. And so it sticks out an inch, and that is for how we're going to do our doors. So I have this cabinet here. It's going to be a standalone cabinet that's going to go right above this counter space right here. And if you can imagine a door being right here that's going to fold up. We didn't want to have any kind of handles on all of our cabinets, or like our upper cabinets at least. What we wanted instead is to have basically just a little lip on the bottom here to quickly pull it up. So what it's going to end up looking like is the whole door is going to be inset between the sides and the top, but not the bottom. The door is either going to hang slightly beneath this piece so that we can grab it, or we will it'll be flush with this, and we'll make a little handle, if you will, on the back side that we can fit our fingers behind and just pull up real quick. Okay, we got the girls back with us, chickens, and now we're going to move on to the part of the video where I'm just going to give a little bit of a more detailed explanation for how the layout's going to go and what exactly is going to be where within all the framing. So we'll start with the back of the van. Here's our garage space. There's going to be a platform bed, Murphy style platform bed right here, so it's going to be able to fold up and create a walkway all the way through if we need. We're also going to have a partition that separates the garage space from the living space with the door that'll open and close. Now in the actual garage, it's separated into two compartments on either side. The left side is going to be our electrical compartment. The right side is going to be all of our plumbing. And this piece here, that looks kind of like a bench, it's not a bench. We're actually going to have some heavy duty slides that go on the inside of this. And we're going to have a module made from more aluminum framing that we'll be able to slide in and out and basically customize that module to fit all the gear or tools or other things we want to have in there. whether it be with drawers or doors. The whole thing, it's pretty long. The whole thing is going to be able to slide all the way out and give us easy access to organized pieces of equipment or things that we have. The rest of the space is going to be used for batteries and all the other electrical components. This center section is going to have some L-track in the front and back there a little bit in case we want to secure anything down there. And then these are obviously the upper cabinets. And then this whole side is going to have the plumbing. We have a water tank that's going to go on the bottom. We're also going to have another water tank under the van that's going to take the place of the spare tire. So we'll have quite a bit of water storage. And then up here is where our water heater and other things like that are going to go. Moving around to the side of the van. So coming in from the sliding door of the van, we're going to have framing that's going to come up and just be the countertop for the kitchen area. It's going to leave this step for the width of the opening we have to get in from the side. So this whole section is going to be a big bench. It's about 3 feet wide. In this bigger section right here, there's going to be a toilet that slides out. And then this is going to be left from here over an open cubby. It's just like kind of a throw space for shoes or, I don't know, other stuff like that. Like I said before, this is an upper cabinet that's going to go right here. This is going to be more counter space, and we'll have a drawer bank beneath that. This big section here is for our fridge, which I'm super stoked on. We have a huge fridge for this. It's going to be awesome. Up here right above it, there's going to be an oven / air fryer. And then just to the left of that, we are going to have, it's not done yet, but there's going to be a closet space right here to hang shirts and stuff like that. This little tiny space, along with an extra 2 inches, that's going to be made up with that partition that I mentioned earlier. There's going to be a little bedside counter space with some outlets and light switches right there on the wall. And then beneath that is going to be another drawer bank. So unfortunately, we don't have this side of the van done. I will say though, for our countertop, it's going to start not as deep, and it's going to come along the length of the van here, and as it gets into the doorway opening, we're going to use these same 45-degree anchors to allow the counter to come out a little bit more as it extends into the doorway. That'll give us just some extra counter space and also allow us to have a bigger sink. And then because it's narrower over there, it'll give us easier walking space along the length of the van. So I know that wasn't the best quality explanation for our framing and everything. It was a little bit dry, but the van is actually starting to take shape now, and so I wanted to just take advantage of this time to show you guys and hopefully spark your imagination a little bit and kind of get you on the same page that we are when it comes to our vision for the van and what the project actually is, and maybe make future videos a little bit more interesting to watch. Oh, do you see that? We have a huge crack in our windshield. It goes all the way across the bottom. So that sucks. If there are any questions regarding anything I talked about, please feel free to reach out. I'm happy to answer any questions to the best of my ability. And yeah, I hope this video is informative and hopefully makes future videos a little bit more interesting now that you have a better idea of what's going on. So see you next time.